Hello and welcome to the fourth Bureau Business podcast in the series we're running in 2024, the fourth and final in fact, covering each corner of the Bureau industry. I'm running these podcasts under the auspices really of the Association of Bureau Managers, which is a community of Bureau seniors which I brought together just a year ago. And now it's a thriving group of people who gather on in roundtables around the country at a conference which is going to be in just a couple of weeks' time. If you want to join us, there's still a couple of places left. It's on November the 5th. And we have monthly webinars on a variety of topics and a WhatsApp group which keeps everybody busy, I think. But it's very much a supportive community, and what we're trying to do through the podcast is really help everybody else see what other Bureau managers are like, I suppose, and find out about their background and their world. These podcasts wouldn't take place if it wasn't for the fantastic support of ACT from the Payroll Centre. ACT is a piece of software really. It's a portal which Bureau managers can use to assess their staff. The acronym stands for Assess, Customise, Train. So the way it works is you can use the platform to assess the skill levels and skills areas of your team, then customise the training, ACT, to meet the needs of your particular team. The benefit being you're not just receiving vanilla training, assuming everybody's at the same level. It's tailored and specified for your team. It's a great product, and I say that because I rely on feedback from Bureau managers. Everybody tells me they love it, and it's being used extensively. If you've not seen it already, take a look. So today's focus, right, so the previous three podcasts were with what I call them corners of the industry. So I've done a pure Bureau of 8 staff with Tracy Jerram. I've done a big Bureau, a top 10 firm with Adam Flight, 30 people in the team, over 1,000 payrolls. I did sort of the bedrock of the business, if you wish. So Rebecca Gotch works at a medium-sized regional firm in Leicestershire. She's the last one. And today I thought it'd be good to go to sole practitioners, and I've got two with me today. I'm very honoured to have two sole practitioners, and they're both slightly different as well, because one is a sole trader, runs her own business as a pure Bureau and a bit of consultancy, I think. She'll tell us in a moment. And the other is a sole practitioner within a firm of accountants. So very similar worlds, but very different pressures, I think, around them. Yeah. So I'd like to introduce on my immediate left, Anelia Petkova.
Hello, my name is Anelia and I'm the payroll manager in Williamson. This is an accountancy practice based in Spalding, Lincolnshire. I work in payroll for the last almost 7 years, and I'm in a bureau for the last 4 years.
Good, brilliant. And to her left is Beata. I didn't say the surname, did I? Beata, who will introduce herself now.
Yes, my name is Beata Klejszta, and I run payroll bureau in Leicestershire, B Payroll Limited, and I'm a solo practitioner. I have another ad hoc member of staff, helper, in emergencies mostly. And I've been doing payroll for the last 15 years, about 15 years, just over, and on my own for 4 years now.
Right, okay. So you, before, I mean, I'll delve into some questions, but before you were at Williamson, were you in-house or bureau?
Before Williamson, yes, I've been in a bureau, and prior to that I was an in-house payroll,
right,
so
okay.
I've seen
So
both
you've seen both, right.
the in-house and the outsourced one.
And in the other bureau, was it just you again, or were you part of a team?
No, I was a part of a team. We was a team of 4, right. And prior to that I work within a team of 10, so
10 in-house. Yeah. Easy life.
Yeah.
And so, well, you've introduced one thing which I want to get into, but can I have some background first? Let's have a bit of background.
Yeah.
I detect that you don't have English as a first language, possibly. Can I say that, please, guys? So, where are you from, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm from Bulgaria, and I came here almost 10 years ago. I did not plan to stay or to do payroll, yeah. I study law in Bulgaria, yeah. During the summer break, I came here just for a seasonal summer job for 3 months. Those 3 months now last already almost 10 years, yeah.
So what was the summer job you had?
Oh, my very first job here was in a factory. I used to work in a flower factory. Yeah, I've been packing plants, flowers. Yeah.
How beautiful. Yeah. How very different from payroll as well. And was that over on the east side of the country where vegetables and flowers
Lincolnshire, yeah.
Yeah. Beata.
Yes,
Your
so
background.
very similar background. I would say in that I came here 20 years ago for 3 months, summer adventure, and I stayed. And so I was lucky in that I found the job in a language school in Bournemouth in Dorset on my second day in the UK, and I stayed there for 12 years. So I've done all kinds of jobs when I first joined them in the summer, because that's their busiest time. So they needed me in the office, in the cafeteria. So I've done all the jobs. Then settled in their finance department, dealt with all the bookings, paying suppliers, payroll, etc. And this company's staging for automatic enrollment was in 2013. So that's when I get to know CIPP more and the courses they offered. I went to their pension course, then I went and did diploma with them. And yes, and that's when I decided, actually, before that, I decided I want to do payroll more. And then swapped from the in-house environment to a bureau.
And that was your choice, wasn't it, to go bureau?
Yes.
And it was your choice as well, wasn't it, really?
Yes, I didn't fall into payroll, I chose it. And after choosing payroll to be an internal payroll, then I chose the bureau payroll, yes.
It's a very interesting world, isn't it? This divide that exists within payroll of in-house, and it seems that people are naturally suited to one or the other.
Yeah,
it just seems that way, doesn't it? Isn't it
I
strange?
just when I did the diploma, I don't know how it was for you, Anelia, but I did the diploma and I met people from different backgrounds doing the course, and I found their jobs in bureaus more interesting than mine. Mine was pretty boring. There was large intake of staff in the summer, then winding down for winter. One maternity maybe in the 10 years I worked there. Not a lot was happening apart from automatic enrollment. Well, RTI first, automatic enrollment, and so not a lot was happening. I just wanted something more exciting.
That is why I love working in a bureau, because being in an industry, being in-house means that you're sticking more or less to one industry. There, for example, some industries where you wouldn't, if you work in a construction industry, if you do payroll for them, you'd never had any method to pay S&P, to calculate S&P, it will be just once in a while. I really love that variety, and to have an access to not disconnect myself or close myself just in one industry, but to have an access and day-to-day experience with multiple industries. That really keeps me on top, and it shows.
And I suppose it does. You do get drawn into every corner. You just made me laugh there with that maternity coming in. I can imagine when I want that.
Yes, of course. I want that. I want something. But also that was similar in the payroll bureau, actually. Whenever there was someone that specializes in local government pension or something, the manager would say, oh, let her do that because she knows this. And I would say, actually, no, let me do it because I want to learn this new thing. Maybe it will help me in the future. Why would you only ask one person to do it? You need more of us
Yeah.
to
That's-
know the
spread-
subject and be
Spreading the knowledge.
exactly
Yeah.
share the knowledge, teach me to do it rather than take it from me. Yeah.
Again, I mean, it takes different sort of people. Some people would naturally back off because, well, I
Yeah.
don't know it, so I might make a mistake. But
Yeah.
you embraced it and you wanted to take it on, which is
Yeah, true.
good. So, the big question for me, guys, you know, I hold bureau managers in very high esteem. I do think it's amazing what you do and managing hundreds of clients, but while you don't have a team to manage, you've got everything else to do. Everything falls on your shoulders. So how do you organise your lives around everything?
Setting boundaries, I think, with clients, very important from the start,
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
you know. So
Because
then
you
you
are
actually,
a precious resource, aren't
yes,
you?
your time is your, basically is your resource.
Yeah.
So you have to be very careful what you agree to. I would say that's the most important thing from you know, from the start of the relationship, and just managing those expectations really as you go along. And also the ability to just switch off and do your life things,
Yeah,
make you know, conscious decisions when you're doing what.
yeah. So do you work at home? Or
Yes,
a
at
mix?
home.
Yeah.
At home.
Right,
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, I think you do need to draw
Yeah.
clear boundaries, don't you?
I agree with the boundaries, expectations, settings as well, realistic deadlines. The
course,
most important for me is the time management. So, for example, when you work in a team, you can allow yourself, or all the team can be allowed to have a busy days and breezy days. Yeah. When you're a team of one that requires to plan in advance, for example, my Christmas is planned already. I'm planning for summer 2025. This is just a requirement. It is a must when you're on your own.
I thought that had to be the case. You've got to be. You can't
For
let
what?
life flow at you. You've got to
Yes.
be in control of what's coming at you as far as you can.
Yes, otherwise it will become chaotic and stressful for me, for the clients, and payroll will become not a nice event, neither for me nor for them. So excellent time management, it's must. Yeah.
Excellent time.
Absolutely, yes.
So you've got to be very strict with yourself as well as strict with your clients and strict with the managers in the business.
It's not about being strict, it's about being organized and planning well, because if the things go out of control behind the deadlines, then is the time when you would have to jump and be strict. So just keep it organized, and the key for that is the mental engagement with my clients. Yeah. So we, of course, as every other practice, have our engagement process, engagement letters, and we try to cover as much as possible and to make it as useful as possible in there. But as well, the important part is to work together with the clients, to get to know each other, to get to know their business, and to set up real deadlines and expectations, so payroll will not be done in a rush, and there will be the...
So, sorry for interrupting. So it's easier for you to control as a sole trader, so you meet the clients, you discuss their requirements with them before you make a proposal, you define what they're getting.
Yeah.
To what extent do you do that? Well, because, I mean, the typical view of the firm of accountants, if I was the accountant, is, hi Anelia, I've just got a payroll job, it's 20 employees, we start tomorrow, crack on. And you've had no input, you know. Is it like that, or do you have?
I feel lucky because our partner is a sensible professional. We agree. We give ourselves enough time to really meet and greet the client. Yeah. But for example, I'm responsible for payroll. I'm not keeping them responsible to agree the deadlines, to agree the expectations with clients for my job. This is something what I'm doing, and I'm doing it.
You say he's a sensible professional. It sounds like you've trained him to be a sensible professional.
We can cut that, yeah.
No, well, I think I suspect you have. You've got to, haven't you?
Well, he's a customer. He's a customer of payroll as well.
Right.
He's one of the clients. I'm providing, for example, I'm providing services to them as well to grow the expectations.
Yeah.
This is about the communication within the business, to set an expectation, to set the time frames.
So,
it is not just the client.
So he is just another stakeholder, really, albeit different from a client stakeholder.
I think it's very good that you have that, relationship with them, because it sounds similar to what I have with my accountancy practice clients, because I deal with 2 large practices who outsource to me. And they just trust my process, and they let me set the boundaries with the clients directly. They'll just tell me, we've onboarded this new client, can you make contact with the outgoing accountant to get the handover organized, and I then take over from then, and I organize, and talk about time scales, expectations, and so on.
I suppose pricing is, pricing's important, isn't it? It's vital to the future of the industry, I think. And so is there ever a conflict? So they introduce you to the client, you tell the client it's this much money, and the client says, "Oh, I'm not happy. I didn't think it was going to be that much." Is there any bit of sort of friction around
with
that?
the clients that come to the accountants? I have pricing structure agreed with the accountant, so I don't discuss the fees with the client coming to me.
Right. Okay.
Unless there is someone introduced by the accountant as a direct client, and they know I'm a third party.
Yeah.
Because I'm guessing most of those clients know I am a third party, but maybe some of them don't. And I would rather not discuss that side of the pricing with them, unless I have a clear green light to do so.
It can be tricky, isn't it? That's where you have a tricky aspect, whereas you don't. You're within a firm of accountants, that's it. You're related, you're the third
It would
party.
just become tricky if there is an extra thing, extra project to get involved with on a client's payroll. Something they have, for example, if a new client came on board and they have a dispute going on with HMRC, or not a day-to-day payroll processing thing, but something that takes more resources, more time, then I'll need to then agree, a fee for dealing with those ad hoc.
That's right. It's difficult to justify where the day-to-day payroll processes ends and an additional project start.
I suppose that empathy there is a key piece, isn't it, for you understanding what this means to an employer. You're the experts, so you understand it, but understanding the implications for the employer and helping them over that hurdle, I think, is a key part of what you're doing.
I think that's the key value of any profession, especially of payroll. I would say if you train the person for long enough, everybody will be capable to produce a payslip. No, everybody will be capable, let's say, to produce a payslip. But this is the hard, soft part, to understand the client, how they feel, and to work not for them, but with them.
And you've got, 100 clients, did you say?
Between 90 and 96. This is the number that we've been obeying for the last 3 years.
And for yourself, because you do...
Just under 200 clients,
How do you... manage so many people? It's like herding cats.
I love doing it.
Why? I can't understand. That's amazing. So
yeah,
I
some are,
suppose-
some are quite small, and so
Yeah, but
automation
still, the argument-
plays a vital role in my scalability,
Yeah, we're gonna come to
plans.
automation. The,
So,
but
yeah.
most people say smaller clients are the most troublesome as well.
Yeah, true with some clients. Yeah, I think I'm lucky enough that I don't have a lot of. But you are right in that sometimes I'll have a client of, 150. A payroll comes in on time. It works like a clock. It's just easy to manage,
Seven
and it's
employees. Oh, I forgot to tell you that Joe left last week.
yes,
whatever.
and you're finding out, or sometimes one person, and they won't send the hours on time. You end up chasing them.
James Ashford, somebody I follow. I think you might follow him as well. But he's recently been talking about you create good and bad clients, and it sounds like you two have both got this off to a fine art of moulding clients into being absolutely perfect, really.
I think it's about education.
Being a team of one requires you have no other choice but to set realistic deadlines.
Yes.
And this did not
So
mean
what if?
punish.
That's fine. I mean, it's great setting realistic deadlines, but at the other side, you've got the non-compliant client who says, "Oh, sorry, I forgot."
It's about communicating. Firstly, effective communication, like why something is important. Again, the mental
But
engagement.
I'm still late. I'm sorry, I forgot. I was busy. I didn't get round to it. So what are you doing? So you've given me this deadline, and it's 4:30 today, and it's now 9:30 tomorrow morning. I haven't complied.
For me, the process starts not from giving the deadline, but much prior that. Firstly, the introduction, who we are, what we're doing, what's the value of payroll, what's the value of my job.
And all of that's enough then, is it? All of that's enough to make me comply, is it?
After that, well, persuading people that if they did not pay their staff on time will break the mental engagement with their staff, will directly impact on their employees' motivation. It's usually enough then.
Because it's just such a challenge, isn't
There's
it?
always going to be someone that is never on time, because payroll is the last thing on their mind. It's just another piece of admin they don't want to do. So sometimes things will come very late.
And you dig them out the hole.
Those that will send payroll late, I got to the point with them that they tell me now when the payroll will come. So if they tell me I will send it on Monday the 28th, fair enough, thank you very much. I know to expect it on a Monday, so I won't be chasing it before that date. Okay. I will make sure I have the resources to do it when you send it, so I won't wait until last minute. I will tell them, when they are late, how it's affecting, how it can affect them and their staff if they won't pay them on time. But chances are they'll still do the payroll on time, so the staff will be paid on time because it's not their fault.
That's right, yeah. My experience of bureaus, though, is that each individual manages their own portfolio. And they're like mini versions of you, really, within a team, Yeah. They've got sort of 50, 60, whatever payrolls each. So it's down to them to manage the client in the same way that you do.
When I was in a bureau, I managed a lot more pay slips than I do now. So my work-life balance was probably worse.
Clearly, I think running your own business gives you more control, doesn't it? Of your life, your clients, the business as well. You used the word earlier I want to pick up on. Scalability. If I want to scale my business, and you're already at 200 clients, and the word automation was mentioned.
Yeah, I think it's automation and just getting to know the software that you are using. That would be a first, I would say. What is the capable?
How well do you know your software? How well do you know it?
I think I know it pretty well now. Yeah. Because when you start looking at alternatives, I think the best you know, the best first step would be just to look at what you have and what it's actually capable of before you start looking someplace else, because maybe it actually can do what you want it to do. And try and automate, batch certain processes. You know, maybe for smaller clients, send reports quarterly instead of monthly, because they appreciate less admin, especially if they don't have liabilities to pay to HMRC. So things like that, just introducing, you know, those little changes that make...
That's a bit of streamlining
Yeah,
as well,
streamlining,
really,
yeah.
I think it's so important to know your software intimately, you know, every little thing it will do, just to make your own life easier, I think. What do you use on the whole?
BrightPay, mostly, and Sage 50 payroll now also.
And we've got another Sage 50 user
Sage
here, haven't we?
50, yes.
You get along reasonably well with it? You get along reasonably well, you get the most out of it?
Yes, absolutely. Sage is like, it's evolving to the needs. It
Very
provides
slowly, dare I say.
the degree. It's not. I heard people saying that, oh, Sage cannot do that, Sage cannot do that, Sage cannot
I don't think they know
calculate.
the system very well.
To be honest, I heard Sage Sage cannot calculate holidays, Sage cannot calculate S&P. I'm doing all that with Sage, and it really comes to value automation. I'm on my own, and automation, that's the green button I'm clicking, we click on payroll, that's the button, we just click a button. That's the button that saves me a lot of time, and Sage is fit for purpose. I'm evaluating it, for example, at least once a year, or for example, when a new requirement comes, if Sage is coping with that requirement, if it's disastrous, if it did not cope, or if it's really not so important, and so far it's fit for purpose, it meets the client's needs, and it comes at a reasonable price. Automation is as well valued by the clients and by their staff. The majority of employees would like to receive, for example, their pay slips online, to be secured, to have two-factor authentication.
I think the modern system has to have online secure pay slips.
Absolutely, and to change their personal details on their own, and this really streamlines the process and reduce the admin, so we can finally act like a human to build a relationship, and to spend time with our clients.
I think you've always, you know, one thing about the association is it's handy to have other people to ask about software, but when you do, you're making assumptions about their knowledge, as you said. People might not know that it already does something. You've got to know your own software intimately, and I think always be careful, I think, when you ask for an opinion.
But you know, grass is always greener on the other side. You don't know what you're getting into. It's better to know, you know, better the devil you know.
Yeah, indeed.
This is what many people actually missing, not knowing the full capability of their software, of something that they already have, and jumping for something new just because it's newer. Developer says it's better where we have go. So developers will say that.
And new and lovely,
thing that I love with Sage and their developers, I'm calling them or texting them and saying, can you do this and this and this for me? So they would either provide me with what I want straight away. So you've got everybody
really well trained in
your
developers. Developers, clients.
Are you using Sage online?
You just need to go to
or desktop?
I'm using the desktop for payrolls, and recently for the director's payrolls I started using the bureau one.
Sage, I like Sage because I know it and I can do things with it, but I don't like the way you switch between the clients. You have to come out of one to get into another, and it's even with 5 people it's a headache, because with you know, BrightPay you can have 10 of them open at the same time. You just click through them. You don't have to close one to get. That's probably the
you can open
the biggest
maximum
issue that I would have with the bureau.
ACT is an online learning and assessment resource that allows you to identify your team's strengths and opportunities to improve, ensuring relevant training and development for payrollers of all experience levels. Team members sit a series of quizzes and results are shown as red, amber, green for each skill assessed. Flexible automated reporting allows managers to see the overall results. The platform offers a unique approach to improving payroll team performance and reducing business risk by continually assessing personal and team performance. The custom-built platform uses a unique payroll competency model to target assessments for payrollers of all experience levels and benchmark their full range of skills and opportunities to improve. Managers can drill down into specific modules and question responses to fully understand their team's individual training requirements. Team members can also view their individual results to track their own development. Subsequent training can then be targeted to increase staff knowledge and payroll legislation compliance. Improved staff satisfaction, retention and significant skills improvement leads to more accurate and compliant payrolls. A variety of training modules can be added to the platform to target high priority improvements. Modules include video learning through to customised tutor-led face-to-face training. The impact of this training can then be measured and a further cycle of learning undertaken.
Welcome back. We just had a little break there. You wouldn't have known that, would you, if I hadn't said. But it's an opportunity for me to remind you that this podcast, like the others, is sponsored generously, thank you, by ACT from the Payroll Centre, the leading and unique assessment platform in the payroll industry. Guys, what would you say are the most important skills required of a bureau manager? That came from left field, didn't it?
I'm happy to start. I would say time management.
Right,
Very,
okay.
very important from the start,
Which
really.
we've covered, haven't we? So
Yes,
I
but
think let's-
also being flexible, I guess, learning all the time, empathy, we've mentioned, but a soft skill. Is it a soft skill?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'd say so.
Yeah, it's like this. We've touched upon that, understanding, the client's needs, etc.
Sort of moulding yourself as far as possible to their needs while moulding them to yours.
Also, educating them, but adjusting your own process to maybe be more fitting with their industry or their setup.
Pragmatic approach, I suppose.
Yeah.
I've got to ask you this, guys. So you're not in a team of 12, so somebody can't go on 3 weeks holiday without, so that they'd be covered by the other 11. How do you do your own holidays? Is it first 2 weeks of the month? And
Normally, if I wanted to switch off completely, it would have to be start of the month, and then I will have. I work with a colleague who is has a similar setup to my own, and they can, pick up emergency work or just cover what's necessary, weekly clients, things that have to be done. But normally, I would be on holiday and work remotely.
all right.
Yeah.
Tell us more about this. I first heard about this a few weeks ago, and I love the sound of it. This is somebody's got a camper van, I believe.
Yes, I've got a camper van, and I love my holidays in my camper van. But so just I basically worked from various settings.
Did you do that pre-COVID as well?
No, I did that first time in 2020 just post-COVID, first holiday in COVID, which was actually the best year to travel around Europe. There weren't tourists anywhere. it was just deserted. I don't think, never seen it like that before. It was busier and busier year after year, and it's very busy. It was very busy this year.
Yeah, I'm noticing that. I think we were all getting stir crazy, I think, weren't we? And I remember whenever the door opened slightly, I was straight out of it.
Yeah.
I had a friend in San Sebastian once, that two friends together, and they were sending me pictures and saying how great it was. I said, would you mind if I joined you? And I jumped on a plane the next day, and I spent 3 nights with them, and any opportunity to get away.
Yes, we were just waiting for government to open. It was harder the second year because they set those 5-week deadlines for reviewing guidelines, and they wouldn't budge. So we ended up going away end of July. I think the second year it was worse.
Right.
But
I'm lucky because I have cover. Who can cover me when I go on holiday? Still have to prepare to inform my clients I will be away. Sometimes I need to catch up with some payrolls prior going, but I have a cover.
You said earlier you're already planning for next summer.
Yes.
And that's for your holidays. How long will you be off?
Usually the summer one is around 2.5 weeks. We have a break for Christmas.
Brilliant.
And planning with me, with my colleague, with the clients. It's just again planning.
I suppose if you've got it all beautifully organised, like it sounds like you have, then they can just carry on serenely, can't they? With it. You said there's that other lady that you share work with. Do you do some of hers when she does the work?
Yes, yeah.
I just think if you don't have that, if you don't have somebody there, everything's on you, isn't it?
It will be too stressful maybe, because if something happened that we couldn't manage, then...
And I've heard of people, running payroll around the pool. It's not... If you're on holiday, you're on a holiday.
You should still have some time to switch off.
And if payroll cannot survive 2 weeks without me, then my internal procedures are wrong. Yes.
That's why, maybe I can actually mention something I wanted to mention, that is very important in the solo setup to document everything. Because when I was in the bureau, documenting was a must, because you had to document it for other people in the team, other persons in the team to pick it up when you weren't there. But it's as important when you are on your own, because that means I can then ask someone who isn't familiar with the payroll, with the client, to cover for me. It's even more important. You would think, I will remember everything about this client. I remember how this is done, how that's done. No. Even more important to put it, I think, on paper.
200 clients, how can you remember everyone? I think it's just impossible, isn't it? Really?
No. It's good practice to write things down, and even when I discuss things, sometimes even on WhatsApp, it's just so convenient. Or over the phone, I follow up with an email, and I won't rely on the client sending me an email to confirm what we've discussed. I'll send an email myself saying, this is what we've covered, and just for audit trail,
And to reduce stress, which is a word you mentioned earlier. There was obviously a ton of stress around during COVID, but for me, it's always lurking around your world. It's always there, with 100 clients or 200 clients and partners and HMRC and, those stresses ever present, I think, and it's one aspect of what you've got to manage. How do you cope?
I prioritize my well-being, mental and physical. If things can wait, they'll have to wait, because it's sometimes more important to either go for a walk, go to the gym, de-stress a little bit, because you'll come back with a fresh mind. Don't rush into things. Sometimes you'll receive an email, and it's easy to just get stressed about it. I'll never reply straight away to that.
Brilliant.
Have a think. Come back to it later.
There's one client, well, one client I know, but I'm sure other people do it, who the team were instructed not to reply to clients within 2 hours. Because you're trying to get them to sensible expectations. Because if you always reply very quickly, they can just expect you to be there, you know, all the time.
True.
Which I think is interesting. So it sounds like you can sort of see stress as this distant spectre that's always there. Do you as well? Is it sort of ever present, hovering? You just sail through.
No, we've got organization, good planning. If you plan well, yeah, it's achievable.
Sounds great.
It just requires planning, and at the end of the day, you work with all the human. Yeah, you
Probably
can,
depends
you can
what
discuss.
the source of stress is. Yeah.
And to what
Because certain
extent.
things you can plan for, and there's certain things, you know,
from
you
left
won't be.
field.
They'll just appear, and they. I think I'm lucky in that if I get stressed, it'll be just for for a moment, and it passes. I don't, think about things for too long, and won't keep me awake at night.
So,
I'll just.
and we're in Grantham today, which the
Yeah.
viewers wouldn't realise, which is take you 2 hours to get here. Took me a similar time period, and you took 2 hours. And you went to the gym before coming.
I did, yeah.
Which is about, I think, that looking after yourself, realising what you need physically and mentally, I think.
Yeah.
So, talking about stress and pressure, payrolling benefits in kind.
I know.
Yeah. Are you doing it?
I will be doing it from next tax year.
So you haven't done it at all yet?
No, because I don't have many clients that registered for it, and
Right.
before this year they had to do it themselves.
Yeah.
So it was mostly P11Ds.
Do you do P11Ds?
Yes, I did
As
for
part of your
last
service,
year.
Do you? Or is that the tax team?
P11 days under tax.
Yeah.
We will start payrolling from the next year. So we have clients who volunteered for that. So we will be ready for the time when it becomes compulsory.
Yeah.
It will be easier just if HMRC issue at least draft legislation. So
Yeah.
we will know where we're going.
Yeah. Some people say they think it won't appear, but we'll find out perhaps end of the month, I think. That
Maybe
will be the time, I think,
yeah.
for it to be confirmed or postponed.
Yeah. It would be good to know.
Yeah, it would be good.
Yeah. But at least we have, we can choose to do it this tax year before it becomes compulsory, if it becomes
Yeah,
compulsory. And if we don't do it from this tax year, you still have a year to, to prepare and plan for it.
Yeah.
So there is it's not as sudden as the furlough legislation was.
No.
Let's not mention the F word.
I mentioned this to all the interviewees. I could buy a cheap piece of software, Moneysoft say, and tell the world I'm a payroller. Come and I'll do your payroll for you, because it's easy. You set it up, you press a button. I undercut you guys, so I'm cheaper than you. This can happen, it does happen. So do you think the industry should be regulated?
It would probably work in the client's favor if it was, because I inherit many clients from those setups. So the clients find out sooner rather than later that someone's not actually cut for this job and they don't know what they're doing, or they will start well with an easy payroll and then when they have to actually have
There was some complex situation.
to some complex situation, then the problems start. And it also depends on the payroll client, because if someone is not on the ball, sometimes the client won't know that things go wrong because they don't know.
That's the other side.
So also depends.
You send
on the
me
client.
four reports every month. You tell me how much to pay HMRC. You pay all my staff, or you produce pay slips. I can't see anything wrong here, and yet
Yeah,
there's
it could be really wrong.
riddled with
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah.
They wouldn't know, would they? Unless they've got a degree of understanding.
I
about
don't know. I
payroll.
think it's a tough one, Barry, because I think the regulation would work for clients.
Yes, I agree.
Definitely,
Yeah.
but it's how do you actually tell them it would work for them? Because if they don't know their payroll is wrong,
Yeah, yeah. Which
you know,
is-
they don't see the benefit of this being regulated.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
those that actually had problem with their payroll, they will say, yes, I want to have a
Yes.
regulated professional actually knowing, you know, someone who knows what they're doing my payroll.
But if it was made law, then they'd have no choice, and they'd
Yes.
just have to get on with it. So
Yeah.
when I knock on the doors, they'd say, "Go away. We're using
Yeah.
a proper firm
Yeah,
like Williamson or payroll."
yeah.
Which is part of the differentiation piece, which I always think
Yeah.
is so difficult. You know, if I'm an employer, how can I tell between everybody where to go?
Yeah.
You know, and price becomes
Price also, and depends what the client is looking for. Sometimes, you know, I'll get an inquiry, and when they find out I'm on my own, some people are reluctant to, you know.
How do you overcome that one?
I do have a backup structure, you know, a plan for, you know, a backup plan. So it's just transparency, really. You know, I'm not hiding anything. I'm not saying I'm a team of 3 if I'm not. I'll say I'm on my own. I'll still oversee everything. I do have another person if you know, if I need cover.
Yeah, yeah.
But just being transparent, I think.
So sometimes
Honest.
it's handy for them not understanding payroll, because then, well, of course, you'll
Yeah.
be fine.
Yeah.
Because if they understood the complexity, then they'd be even more worried, perhaps,
Yeah.
about going with
Or
it.
if they recommended by someone, they don't care.
Yeah,
If it's just me or, you know, 5 people. It depends where they come from.
And
Yeah, their experience.
So much
Yes.
business comes through recommendation,
Yes,
doesn't
a
it?
lot, a lot.
Yes, yeah. And I believe it's not about the number of people, because you might have a team of 10, but if you haven't got policies, procedures and systems
Yeah,
to
exactly.
follow, then accuracy, security and
You
compliance
can be more
even may
efficient
not
on your own
exist.
than, you know.
If you've got a team of 10, you should be using ACT from the payroll centre, guys, because then you'd know precisely where their
Smooth
skills
operator,
lie.
isn't it?
That was
Very
a great
smooth.
way, wasn't
Ooh.
it? Okay. I've got to ask though, you know, there's this talk about everybody falls into the industry, and engineering, right? If that's a profession, so people at school are attracted to engineering, so they go into an engineering degree, and then the whole engineering world knows I've got 50,000 people coming out of universities next year
Yeah.
into my industry. We go, hello.
Yeah.
I think that's a real issue for us. There's
Yeah.
no, people are falling out, and I see it every, you know, this week I've seen one person who's left and another who might, and you know, we don't know when and where or if these people are going to appear, and we're just sort of winging it.
Yeah.
What can we do? It's a big question. I know it's a very difficult question too.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about, you know, making payroll career, not falling into it, but making a conscious decision to, at school even, so talking to young people about it, giving them those different routes, making it attractive, because a lot of people think it's very boring.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think we sell it that well, do we?
That we
really?
don't, no, because we just get on with it.
Yeah.
We don't talk about it.
That's right. Who's that in the corner with a head down? Well,
yes.
that's the payroll manager, you know.
Yeah.
And you have your heads down because it's a busy world, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think, we've got to get into schools. I mean, there are a few
Make it exciting.
little...
Yeah.
Jeez. Come on, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's make it exciting. So, you're both members of the Association of Bureau Managers.
Yeah.
Thank you for supporting us. What difference has, if any, has membership made to you?
I met like-minded people, and as well, what I'm looking for is, and I'm finding it, is to to show the value of payroll, because payroll is not transactional process anymore. It is strategical, in-house and outsourced. Yeah, and I think that's what will naturally make the difference in attracting talents in payroll, because it
But
being
how's the
under
association doing this?
increasing the value of payroll. Obviously, people don't want to choose payroll because it's undervalued position, because you can still hear people saying, well, I progressed from payroll into something else, and etc. and etc. Like payroll is not a job on its own, but actually it is, yeah. And probably with the time we will become a strong enough community to have our own say,
Let's hope so.
and yes, and help HMRC to streamline the processes, because if a new staff member or work experience come and we just show them how busy we are uploading pensions, doing that and that and that, they would never want to do this job. Yeah.
Yeah, I think having a voice, I think, because
Yeah, promoting the bureaus,
Yeah.
the association, just
Yeah.
putting it out there.
Yeah.
What we do, how well we do it,
Yeah.
and
It can be
being a
seen
voice,
It can be
yeah.
seen as the poor partner in the payroll world, can't it? And not quite as good or professional, possibly, as in-house. But that's not for that's nobody's fault, really.
Yeah.
It's just happened, hasn't it? I think. So, but for you, both of you working pretty well independently. What about the value of community?
the community
Yes.
bouncing, ideas of one another, and having this backup, because this WhatsApp group is very busy, and sometimes I don't have time to read all the messages. Whenever I can, I will reply, but sometimes I'll read it after someone else has already helped someone. But knowing that I can, when I need to, I can go there and ask a question myself. It gives me this, peace of mind that I'm not on my own, because that was my biggest concern, I think, when I was setting up. That, in the office you always have someone to ask something.
Yeah. I think that sense of community is important
massive,
for us as social animals as well as professional animals, isn't it? I think. Because social.
And also the events you organize, the roundtables or the conference, it gives me, opportunity to go out, meet people, just network, and it's a social,
there is a
event,
social
side,
I
So get to know the people behind the, the bureaus.
Which is partly what this is about as well, I think, so that, people will be able to get in touch with you and say, I saw you on the podcast, you were fabulous. I'm sure they will. Thank you. Well, I'm keen to listen to any suggestions to help and develop the industry. Who's checking your work?
A mix of myself with a fresh pair of eyes and the software. That's why it's important to choose a fit for purpose software. So the audit job will be at least partly automated.
I suppose you build trust in the software bit by bit by bit by bit, and so I know I can just leave that it does correctly. And you're increasingly sort of auditing the edges of what happens. It's funny because some bureaus have another party when they're in a team, obviously, checking every payroll before they go out, which I think is an interesting approach. Some don't. But again, I suppose with a lack of regulation and standards, do you need to check? Should you check? Anyway.
Clients also check their own payroll, reporting. And with larger clients, I make sure I have a, gross to net analysis that basically agrees with what they've sent me. I can compare the two, but software is a big part of that process. Something that will show up differences month to month, or you know, errors showing, software that will even tell you, I mean, as a minimum, really, someone is on the wrong national minimum wage or wrong NI category. That should be built in every software. So you can have certain things that the software will help you with.
I think quality management is the key for our job. Part of compliance and payroll shouldn't leave the building prior being checked and approved as well from us, from the client, and then.
It's funny as well because you could just let it go because, as we said earlier, the client doesn't know. So if they don't
But
know.
certain things you won't know because if they, for example, don't tell you someone's left 2 months ago, so certain things only the client can check. So they are responsible for checking also, you know, that things are correct.
And on the way here, we said we'd just have a quick chat about pensions as well, didn't we?
Yeah.
What do you think? That's a big question, I know. You know, when I go back to when auto enrollment came along, I remember us selling payroll software. I remember talking to one payroll manager and explaining to her how auto enrollment would influence her job. I just said, Barry, no, it's no problem. We're not doing pensions. I thought, I think you will be, but she's...
You will have to.
You will have to, yeah. But no, we've decided we're just not going to... We're going to tell clients they'll do it themselves.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
I think she ended up... I'm pretty sure she ended up doing pensions.
I mean, when I worked in a bureau, and that was between 2016 and 21, in 2016, I remember a lot of medium-sized clients staged. That was a year for auto-enrollment staging. So it was very, very busy year pension-wise. And there were some employees in that payroll bureau that said they didn't do pensions. And, you know, and it was agreed that those who feel comfortable and know what to do and how to do it, they'll do it. And others were left to, you know, if they didn't want to do it, they won't do it. But I don't think that was a good, approach, because if you don't do it, you'll never learn.
For me, it's impossible to divide payroll from the company
now it's impossible
pension.
because the staging is
Because
immediate. There's no staging days, it's duty start date now. So you have to have pension from day one, and
the assessment is where is ongoing process that happens during every parent. So basically,
it's part of the
we have
run, isn't it?
and I would say
choice.
it's important to have that built into payroll software because some pensions, you know, some pension provider offer assessment on their own platform. So you won't assess in the payroll software; you will assess on that platform, and that's fine. But from my point of view, I would rather be in control of the whole process. I want to do it when I'm doing payroll. You know.
The webinar in January, just to give you the heads up, is going to be around pensions. So I'm going to ask 3 or 4 pension providers along to be bombarded by your questions. So if you want to start thinking about lots of tricky questions for them, we'll try to make it as pleasant as it can be.
Will you invite
for
someone
them.
from the pension regulator too?
If you think I should.
To ask them to simplify the process.
It's sort of a bit late, isn't it, for that?
I don't think it's very complicated, the process.
It definitely can be simplified if they reduce the age. And
They're planning to do that, to reduce the age and get rid of the lower qualifying, you know, threshold. So I think that's in the pipeline.
Who knows?
But
we're gonna know in a couple of weeks, aren't we?
Yeah.
And I've one of the roundtable sessions at the conference will be let's chat about the budget. So that's one of the topics I've got for the roundtables. Because I think it'll be very topical then.
Be very fresh then.
Yeah. So guys, we skimmed over pensions, but we'll cover it in a lot more detail. I think it's going to be January the 7th, when it'll be probably 9:30 as well, if you want to put that in your diaries, which will be 10:30 my time, PM, because I think I'll be in Australia, yeah. So be careful. Guys, thanks for... Was it as bad as you thought it was going to be? Was it easier? Was it better? Was it the same?
No, it was really good.
Yeah.
Thank you for having
I
us.
think so. I think
you.
everybody finds it much easier than they thought. Yeah, do you
Yes.
think so?
We talk about something we love doing, Barry.
That's true. That's true.
You didn't put a gun to our head.
No, thanks for coming. Thanks for giving up so much of your time, your precious time. I really appreciate it, Beata and
Thank you.
Anelia. James, thank you for doing everything behind the cameras and your wonderful work, trimming and editing and so on. And the guys at ACT from the Payroll Centre, thank you for giving us this opportunity to share perspectives from bureau managers large and small. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.